This conference will now be recorded.
Right, good morning traders. Welcome to an LAT market snapshot. Now, with the Fed out the way and then failing to live up to hawkish expectations last night, all focus and attention will shift to the BOE and Governor Bailey today. So we can see here from the economic calendar due out at 12 o'clock, there is a raft of information that makes up the BOE rates day. We're going to first off at 12, all at 12, have the minutes, the monetary policy report, the asset purchase facility, and of course, the rate decision, which is expected at a 25 basis point hike. So taking a move here from spot 75 up to 1%. Now, more importantly than that, of late with the BOE, has been what happens to the vote. So you can see three elements here. There is the vote for a rate cut, vote for a rate hike, and vote for the rate unchanged. Now, the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee, will all give their stance, their opinion. Now, we can see previously we had one dissenter in the ranks. Now, that was Cunliffe. His major concern was simply that hiking rates could risk slowing down the UK growth. Now, he does have some point to this. Retail sales print from last week was negative spot 6% versus the positive spot 7% that was meant to come in. So there's certainly some signs here that UK citizens are feeling the pinch. Certainly rising taxes, rising fuel costs, higher inflation, all weighing on the UK economy at the moment. And that is certainly pushing towards the potential for a far more dovish BOE today. Now, what's interesting is as the week started, we were looking at a clean sweep. It was 9-0 on a rate hike in favor of a rate hike. Now, as the week has progressed, it moved to 8-1. And following on from the Fed last night, there's been another amendment to the forecast and projection for today, which has now come to 8-2. Now, if you get two unchanged, that will be a very significant moment. That is far more dovish. That will be two dissenting from the current trajectory for the BOE, and that would certainly spell some signs of weakness for sterling and perhaps some positivity for the indices. Now, the chances of that seem slightly higher, certainly given the fact that we've seen the Fed last night also take a slightly more dovish tone. Now, this has created a very interesting opportunity. The ECB are currently increasing their expectations for rate hikes coming forward into the year as they also battle with surging inflation. So Christine Lagarde and the ECB are turning more hawkish. The BOE here certainly have the potential to turn more dovish. Now, that divergence has opened up some excellent trading opportunities within euro sterling. So I'm just going to pull up that euro sterling chart. And I want to sort of break it down. We're going to start from a slightly higher time frame. We'll look at the dailies just to get the overall sort of the bigger picture of what's going on here. And then we'll move forward and down into what potentially opportunities we had through the night and coming up through the course of today. And first, I just want to focus on the overall trend. Euro has had a rough ride of late. Of course, there's been broad-based dollar strength on the more hawkish outlook. There's also been that flight to safety of late. And the dollar has really rallied. And Euro has had a tough time with the geopolitical tensions and trying to battle against such a hawkish Jerome Powell. So understandably, there's been a major daily downtrend, but significantly of late, there are signs that that trend is turning. We can see the break. This is the lower high. It was posted at 8477. That lower high was broken here back at the tail end of March, start of April. So this daily downtrend was technically broken. And since then, we've transitioned into a largely sideways market here on the daily time frame. But we are in the process of starting to post just a few higher lows. Now, they're not yet confirmed. Excuse me. They're not yet confirmed because we haven't seen a move through to new highs. But certainly there is some significant buying pressure as we rally up through and come up to test that 8477 region. So the daily trend here showing signs of a slowdown and a potential turnaround. Now we drop down into the slightly lower time frames, look at sort of the more recent interactions, the more recent price action. And we can just see this this hourly range that we've been trapped in. So the lows were posted down here, 8372. The highs this range up at 8462. But the nice thing is, of late, we're actually seeing a fairly well sustained little uptrend here on the hourly. So the lows got put in here on the 2nd of May. We failed twice down here. this big bullish engulfing formation forming on the 3rd of May, which then went and took out the highs from back on the 2nd of May. So we posted a new higher high, put in the new higher low at 8403, on again to the new higher high. Now the move lower prompted by, we had a big push higher in cable last night, dollar weakness, an unfamiliar sight, but a lot of dollar weakness on a more dovish Fed last night just enabled longs were in this market to pick up a superb price. So we saw a dip lower down into this low. Now we never failed, we never closed below this low. We held perfectly at the level, tested it once, and then just immediately buyers coming straight into this market. And this is that divergence we're talking about. This is the hawkish ECB pushing euro higher with potential for today for a shock, more dovish BOE announcement. So this market got snapped up overnight. Now, of course, this was the early hours of the morning. Had you been trading last night after the Fed and sort of the late hours of the American session, opportunities to buy these lows were there to be taken. Overnight, of course, we've ripped higher back up towards the highs. But if we drop down into that 5 minute when those lows got put in last night, we can just see the 5 minute chart here was a fantastic bullish engulfing. It was that bullish engulfing which prevented this low from being broken. And that, of course, this low down here, 8403, was the low of that hourly trend. So we dipped below, we failed, we moved back higher, and then we broke through some, it's very short-term resistance, but it was a reasonable low back through here, strong resistance through here at 8414, and then that was the green light, really. We flirted around that level before aggressively then pushing higher up to where we are today. And now looking at this market here this morning, we can see this level being put in at 8446, potential double top formation up at this resistance, but we're just going into a bit of a holding pattern here now, ahead of this BOE decision. Of course, that's to be expected, this holding pattern, but we do leave ourselves now with some pretty nice opportunities. Should they remain hawkish, we've certainly got opportunities, provided these levels don't break prior to the release, to see us move lower down through here. Alternatively, we've got the opportunity not only to break through the top of the range that we've been trading in, but also take out the big daily level that we can just see at the top there. Now, we'll need a significant move for us to get up through there. We're going to need a bit of clarity. But if we can get through that, if we just pop ourselves back out to that daily time frame, if we can get through that, and this is that daily high here, that 8477, if we can get through that again, we've got quite a clear run really up towards resistance trading at 8593, and that would signify a significant shift in the daily trend here. So this today could be the catalyst. Now, just looking at the way again, I'm quite on board with this long up through here. Looking at the aggression within these upward moves, we can see it here. This low, big impulsive move higher, impulsive move again. It's been an impulsive run up to where we are trading now. So Euro Sterling, a fascinating chart here. And again, just remind ourselves, I think the divergence between these assets prompts potential upside here. Certainly more bullish nature. And again, it's that hawkish ECB, potentially more dovish BOE. Even if we get a BOE today that falls in line with expectations, the rhetoric, the forward guidance, the sentiment coming out of the BOE and Governor Bailey not stacking up with the now increasingly more hawkish Christine Lagarde. So an interesting chart, some nice technical levels in play, some clear trend changes, and I think also some levels to generally capitalize and trade on today. Of course, following on from that, once we've been through the votes and all of this coming out at 12 o'clock, we will then have Governor Bailey speak at 12:30. Now, as a general rule with the BOE, most of the moves priced in once that 12 o'clock move data is released. However, of course, be mindful 12:30 for any comments. We're looking again for that hawkish or dovish tone, any potential forward guidance, where are the next rate hikes coming from, and when. Okay, so we'll pick this up later on in the day. I'll be back later, just have a recap and a review. We'll have a look at this Euro Sterling chart. Let's see if we can get some clean moves, some volatility, the same as we did with the Fed last night. All eyes, as I said, focus in here on this rate hike or rate cut data. Really significant. Are we going to have any dissenters in the ranks? If so, how many? Or are they all going to fall in line? And again, now there is of course the chance for hawkishness should they all 9 come out as wanting a rate hike. So plenty of opportunity here for volatility. Let's see where we are. Of course, for now, the expected 25 basis point hike, but I think potential for a slightly more dovish BOE today. Time will tell. Let's catch up later and see how this market moves.